The living room, where the family meets to discuss issues, any issue which may be bothering one of the family members. That's what we do each and every Tuesday on WAC 90.1 FM with Ricardo Mitchell and DJ Aaron868. We have casual conversations on serious topics, from sports to culture, mental health to economics, relationships to life lessons. Join us each and every Tuesday on WAC 90.1 FM. The Living Room, casual conversations on serious topics.
It is now 6 p.m. here in Trinidad and Tobago. I don't know what time it is where you are, but I'm glad to know you're locked onto the true nation station WACK 90.1 FM, where we are
culture crazy.
First and foremost, let's kick this off as we always do, all right? Must give thanks and praises to the Almighty for granting us the gift of life and seeing another day. No matter what time of day it is, you must always
give thanks.
Secondly, we must say thank you to those that went before us, and we are not just talking about our ancestors, the original inhabitants of Trinidad and Tobago, the Tainos and the Kalinagos, because we all know, accept, reiterate, and they say it with the chest that Columbus lied, but also to our brother in music, Tony Prescott, where the P this week stands for
percussion.
Badum-ching.
Parade.
Badum-ching.
Precipitation.
Hey, as you say precipitation, I have a funny but irresponsible story to tell. You know I am probably one of the more planned persons that you know.
Mm-hmm.
Me, right? So Saturday, Saturday I decided to take a trip to the beach. Right? I left San Fernando at around, let's say, 11ish. In hot blazing sun.
Mm-hmm.
Got to Maracas. Bucket a drop. So much so that I left a cup, right? A DJ Aaron cup out in the rain. And within 30 minutes, the cup was full of water.
Right.
So that just should give you an indication of how much rain was falling, right? A DJ Aaron cup. One of these.
Several inches of rain then.
Yeah, not for sale, but yeah. To throw that in there, right? Bam, now we there, so you had to make the best of it. Rain falling, you bathe in the rain too, right? Then I got word that a tree fell on the road out. Immediately, my cousins would call me Uncle Aaron, kicked into flow.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, all right, Tolia, let's wrap it up. Out of here. We passed no less than 3 fallen trees across the road, one of which only small vehicles could have passed under. So I thought that was the end of it. Little did I know what was taking place in Maraval, Diego Martin, Santa Cruz, those kinds of areas. Decided to take a right when I come up by the pillars. Go down the hill, all of a sudden standstill traffic in Maraval.
Mm-hmm.
I say, you know what, let me turn around. Only to realize via social media thereafter, the hill, some of the hills, debris came off the hills, and that would have blocked the road. Decided to go back and go through Santa Cruz. The ODPM constantly says, do not pass through floodwaters. Mm-hmm. I saw floodwaters along the route. You know what I did, Cardo? As a responsible adult and some human being, I pulled to the side and waited for them to subside. I seen vans going through. And then there was an ill-fated wing road wagon.
Mm-hmm.
The gentleman came out of his car. He looked at the water. He rolled up his pants legs to just about an inch above his knee.
Mm-hmm.
Walked. Well, at that height, he waded through the water.
Right.
tested it and was like, you know what? I feel my car could make it through this. I don't mean to laugh at Brethren Pina. He mashed the gas and tried to go through. He stole around halfway through.
It's always halfway, you know.
It's always halfway. And then I don't know if it was divine intervention or vehicular intervention, but he ended up making it through. But when he made it through, that is where, as some people they say, the poo hit the fan. You know, I could only describe it this way. You know, sometimes you might get like a kind of stutter.
Right.
That is what my boy started to experience in the car. And as he drove past me in the line of cars waiting to go the other way, I watched the man back door. There's about an inch gap between the seal of where the doors meet and the flush. There's about an inch. So I'm 100% sure the water from the hills of Santa Cruz was in my boy car, in Brethren car.
Yeah. Right.
Right. Now, again, the ODPM says do not venture into floodwaters, right? I understand if you have a high vehicle and the water is about a foot tall, they want to take the risk and go through. But if you have these low vehicles, don't risk it now. Don't risk it for the biscuit. Because I don't know what happened to Brethren after, because I really didn't. I had to wind up my window to hide the laughter.
Right.
But I think I waited almost an hour and a half for the water to get back down to a manageable level of just about 6 inches for me to drive through. And even that I was still scared to do. Only when I saw a car similar to mine drive through.
A guinea pig.
I said, yeah, of course. I didn't want to be that. I didn't want to be that guy.
Right.
But I let that guy be that guy, and I drove through after. But I must say to Trinidad and Tobago, we established last week that you are responsible for your own decisions, right? If you make a decision to drive through floodwaters and something happens to you, don't go saying it's your only fault.
People still do that?
People still doing it, because I saw people saying that in all the debris that came down in the hills of Marval, they kept asking who would pay for the damage to my vehicle. And people in the comments, our fifth national watch phrase, was saying, is the government gotta pay for that?
Yeah, you know, if that's how that is working on.
Exactly. You know, I know insurance has a huge gap with acts of God, as they call it. But we gotta be a little more mindful of it. Don't drive through floodwaters. We can't counteract for landslips and that kind of thing. Honestly, you really don't know when a landslip will come. But the ones we could control when you see floodwaters, you know what to do? Don't drive through it.
According to the ODPM, turn around, don't drown.
Oh, that's a good phrase though. I like that.
Well, I didn't make it up. I did actually see that on this thing that I'm posting right here.
Oh, okay.
Or down there, actually.
Down here?
Yeah, down there.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
Where the layout now is underneath where the,
where the TV is. With that being said, guys, if you don't know the program you're listening to after that monologue, this is yours truly, DJ Aaron868. I remind you each and every time that counts here is my code, and I sit here alongside my burbo with no fro, a lot of flow, and always on the know and in the go.
Ricardo Mitchell, the social sage on the global stage. Yeah.
This is the living room on the True Nation station, WACK 90.1 FM.
Mr. Williams.
Interesting choice of Jizzy.
It was clean and a daughter iron.
You know what?
That's pretty much.
You know what? As a man that is wear polos to work every day, I understand.
Yeah, understand. Right? As soon as them polos wash and dry on a hanger.
Oh, you just hang them out? I don't.
Do you just do for them?
Yes.
So you fold your polos so delicately that it have no crease mark and it have no ramful. What is the color?
If it's one thing about me, is a delicate folder.
You have a delicate folder finish, you know. Don't go to that side. I like to tell you. I think the first 2-3 times I see, I say, that man look like a delicate folder, you know.
Oh, delicate. Anyway.
Nelly, go to carry this conversation in a direction. Better we stay out of.
Yeah. With that being said, guys, boy, this is the culmination of Men's Health Month. And last week we spoke a bit about our journeys, quote unquote, to enlightenment. Right? And even though we still are on those journeys to enlightenment, there's another part of it that, as men, I think a lot of us take for granted. We just go and buy food, right? Actually, no, let me take a step back from that. When you go, the new trend in buying food is food places that it is weigh your food.
I know how new that trend is, Aaron. That been happening.
So there's a trend that you weigh your food when you go to purchase it, right? And some men will go and you'll put macaroni pie, potato salad, rice, callaloo, pigeon peas, chicken, all kind of different things we go put, right? And then we'll go and we'll sit down and eat that box of food. And when we're done, Macawell syndrome sets in.
Right.
Or ethnic fatigue, whatever you want to call it.
Politically correct way of, yeah.
Yeah, right? Now, one thing I must say is that what we want to kind of touch on today is how you will know when you have too much on your plate.
That was excellently done. Excellently done, Mr. Williams.
I try sometimes.
Not bad at all. You know, as somebody who's mark hard, I gain you full marks for that one.
Because we all know now that your plate is supposed to be 1/3 this and 1/3 that and 1/6 this and then 1/12 to this and the next 12 to make up the rest and whatever the case is. My maths might be off there in terms of that calculation.
It's been a long day.
Yeah. But what I'm trying to say is, how you will know when it has too much on the plate, boy?
Well, one, you already start with 3 sets of carbs. Right. So that is very Caribbean meal. That's one of the things you had to point out. But that was just playing on your excellent segue.
I have good analogies from time to time.
You've had a good analogy a time or two. let me not over carry on. let me not overreach. I plain. A little healthy ribbing, ladies and gentlemen. This does not qualify as bullying, right? That was gentle ribbing, right? Because I see people making Anyway, let me stay out of that. Let me leave that.
Please do.
Right. So in terms of how you'll know when you have too much on your plate here. For one, anytime while you're weighing that plate, you start regretting something you put on it, and you're starting to wonder if this 100 you have will be able to cover it and get your juice. Actually, telling them put back the juice is one of the first signs that you probably have too much of it. How much for the? Oh, nah, don't bother. Sorry.
Don't bother. And you know, in Trinity terms, once you ask how much for the, you know, that's a sign that you're not going to buy it.
That's right. Yeah. If anytime you're pricing, you ain't leaving with that.
Yeah.
So, unless of course people are watching you in the line and you're gonna take it and course afterwards, but you know it does go.
Peer pressure is a hell of a thing, you know.
I could tell you what my indicators for when I have too much on my plate. I can't speak for the general, right? And I recognize that I cut from a little bit of a different cloth. So hopefully somebody relates to what it is I'm saying here. But I've learned that when I get irritable, now I am generally, you know, Hulk does stay angry. Bruce Banner does transform to Hulk at will because he does stay angry, right? I generally have a 4 out of 10 state of constant irritability, which is healthy for me. You know, some say 5, and by some I mean you, right? So I have a constant state of manageable irritability. Right? You could bring it down a little bit flood waters. So for me that is progress and improvement, because I had tendencies to temper, and I was told as a child that if I did not learn to control my temper, it would control me. So I've managed to do that by venting continuously. I don't allow pressure to build. If it's one thing, most people who've seen me know that I have a general state of irritability, but there are few occasions where people have seen me lose my lid. Right? People have seen me upset for things, but they have very rarely seen me lose my lid, as in blow a gasket. Right? I know there are people who've known me for years and have not seen me angry. As in, they did not know that I was capable of getting to that place. I do remember several years ago in a Panorama, I believe it was 2012, right? Panorama semifinal 2012, a young gentleman who unfortunately lost his life earlier this year. He had gone to Panorama with us, and in the melee of the day, right, I didn't get time to eat my designated food. So I'd put away my palau. And this gentleman, in his inebriated state and with compromised judgment, saw fit to not just see me eating my palau, but to dip his hand into my palau box and take out a piece of meat. It was one of those times where gasket was blown, temper was lost. I had to be restrained by several of my peers. I don't like getting angry, so I rather address irritabilities. I rather address things that could lead to resentment and frustration, etc. as they are. People know that I do tend to critique, but I am sorry, that is one of my management systems. When I'm sensing elevated levels of irritability, I know that I am at capacity. Anytime you find I little short with you, anytime I don't doctor my responses or my contributions with questioning or delicacy, know that I am on the cusp. Know that my plate is fully and possibly overloaded, and I'm ready to tell them, take back the juice. So irritability. Once my irritability elevates, I stop using emojis and I start answering instead of posing questions. Know that I have too much going on, and I've gone from managing how you deal with the situation to managing how I'm dealing with the situations. So yeah, no emojis and elevated irritability. And you, sir, despite the lengthy introduction to my response, I am curious, how do you know when you have too much on your plate? Do you know when you have too much on your plate?
No, I do know. And the reason why I could start like that is because there was a time when I would just keep adding and adding and adding. And I had the mantra, I could figure it out after, so how we could deal with it.
Right.
But within the past 2 years, I've tried my best to manage it a little better. So there are things which don't come off my plate at all. And there are things that try to make their way onto my plate. Now, what makes me realize that I'm taking on too much is when the things that I enjoy doing, I don't enjoy them anymore.
Right.
And a prime example of that is a couple months ago, music is the one thing that brings me joy.
Well, I am disappointed, but go ahead.
Exactly, no problem. Right? And it was just, I said thing, I didn't say person. So anyhow.
Oh, all right. Your disappointment withdrawn.
Thank you. Right? And I was not finding joy in playing music. I was not finding joy in playing football. that is when I know there's too much for me to manage. When the things that I enjoy doing don't bring me joy. When instead of doing those things, I want to just lie down and do nothing. That is when I know there's too much on my plate. The second thing, similar to you, I can't use the Hulk analogy, but I always feel that anger is a waste of an emotion.
We could touch back because we just note we swinging back to that.
Right. However, when I say anger is a waste of an emotion, getting angry to the point of outwardly expressing it without understanding why you are expressing it, that is the waste of the emotion for me. So I'm not saying don't get angry, but don't get angry to the point that you see a man, well, honestly, if a man dip his hand in my pillow and grab my piece of chicken, I go, that is grounds for.
Let me just highlight that was your mother catered that pillow, eh?
I figured as much. I didn't want to give mommy any credit there. But
No. Let me put it this way.
That was the one panorama I went to toilet.
That was the one. That was the mash up defense between Pakistan and.
I didn't go that one. I actually was playing pan then. Anyway.
Yes, you were correct. Yeah.
Right. So. For me, don't get angry to the point where it's just an outward expression. Right? And because there are times where I'll be playing football and man will give me a bad tackle. Yeah, I'll get angry. But there's a reason for me to get angry.
Right.
But if I get angry because you know what? This envelope just fall, know something wrong.
Right.
Know something wrong then. So for me, those are the two things. The things I like to do don't bring me joy, and again, angry for the smallest things.
Yeah. So your reaction is more of an overreaction.
Yeah.
And you have a diminished enjoyment from the things that you would normally enjoy.
Yeah.
All right.
Diminished a little to none.
All right. So things that you enjoy doing, you don't enjoy. You've stopped enjoying them, and you overreact.
Yeah.
Yeah. I could relate definitely to the overreacting thing, and that comes from not addressing what an actual problem is. You know, when you said that anger is a wasted emotion, I understand where you're coming from. Now I'll just tweak that a bit. I believe that no emotion is a wasted one. Emotion is an internal indicator that something is wrong, that something is going on in the environment. Right? If you're boiling water and you saw steam, you would know that the water is boiling. If you see the water bubbling, you could tell that the water is boiling. If you could feel heat coming off the kettle, you could tell that those are external expressions of something happening in your physical space, right? Your emotions are expressions of something happening in your internal or emotional space.
Right.
Anger is generally a reflection of injustice within a space. Generally, anger is connected to injustice. And if there is injustice, then it should be identified and addressed. So the anger in itself is not wasted. It is the utilization of that anger, the application of that anger, even the expression of that anger is the problem. But being upset about something is not a bad thing to experience. It points out to us that there's something going on in the space that we should address. Not being able to control your anger is like letting the pot bubble over or dry down to the point where it burns.
You burn your eyes.
Right. It like any other emotion. You wanted to express something, not command something. You want your feelings to contribute as opposed to be your driving factors and forces. So even joy, when joy is your driving factor, Aaron, when satisfaction is your driving factor, if you no longer enjoy or you're no longer satisfied, you'll stop doing. Which is why you need things to counter that, like discipline, right? Or dedication, right? Or habit, right? Our emotions are important, but they also need to be counterbalanced. So in anger's case, you need to exercise restraint. What is restraint? Sometimes restraint is establishing a boundary.
Or restraint could also be knowing that I can't have this conversation now. Let me tell the person, let's revisit this.
Right. Yeah, that is an excellent expression of restraint.
Restraint could also be walking away.
Yeah, the things that they tell us to do. Stop and count to 10, practice the pause, put a pin in it. Walk away, de-escalate where possible. Right? So let's look at... I like this topic, and I could go on and on, but then it wouldn't be much of a discussion. It could be another one of Cardo master classes on self-awareness. We don't need that this evening.
A Cardo filibuster.
I guess of sorts. I like the example that you use. Now, this is an opportunity for me to point out to people that, all talk set aside, ladies and gentlemen, I would have fight comfortably for Aaron Mother Pilau. Plain talk, bad manners. It would have been worth it. It would have been worth it. Right? I'm not an advocate for violence. What I'm saying is, if I had to fight for something, that
you know, as you say that, you and it's something which I saw on social media yesterday. I saw a tweet that a popular Jamaican artist was planning to have a concert in Trinidad on Carnival Friday. Right? And it took me back to the time when I got visibly upset at an event with a member of my team at the time, because it was a carnival event and he was chucking to play dancehall.
Right.
And when I tell you I was visibly upset, I was in the car park, and my friend who was on the, all right, for those who, like put this in context of space, right? I was in front of WAC, quarreling with the man, and people on the top of Drayton Street could I hear me.
Right.
And music was playing in the background. And this was primarily, for me, I am passionate about the culture. I am passionate about the fact that we had a love we own. So you can't tell me within the carnival season, you want to play dancehall.
So we have identified where the injustice would have been. This is not the season for that.
This is, as Cohen the boss said, now is not the time for that. This is not the place for that. Oh, no.
You are depriving soca music of its already limited stage.
Exactly. So you know what?
Injustice. Go ahead.
The man started loading me up. I done short already. He about twice my size. So I can't fight physical for physical.
Right.
So I had to get loud too. And after he left, because he jumped in the car and right out after, because he realized, nah, boy, I get Aaron vexed, something real wrong here. When I do so, and I walk in back in the event, the promoter pulled me square. She's like, in all the years I know you, and I know you about 15 years, I never see you get vexed. And she's like, thank you for getting vexed there. I was like, huh? She said, yeah, because very few people will stand up the way you stand up for the soca there. Because you're the only DJ who play all soca for the night. Everybody else get the people a taste of what they want, but you stand up for something.
So we could say that anger falls in the bracket of a righteous indignation then.
Right? But when I got home the night, I feel bad. Because I allowed myself now with an outward expression that for me could have been better handled. And notice what I said is not that the situation could have been better handled, is that I could have handled it better.
Right.
And that for me is, as I say, we established plenty was on the plate then. But you know what's the funny thing? Nothing was on the plate other than that one moment.
It just happened.
So there are times when we would think having too much on a plate could have an outward expression. But sometimes that injustice as Cardo identified, this just mash up the whole plate.
And we have to respect that, Aaron, that sometimes that thing is enough to mash up somebody else's plate. When you hit somebody, that what you getting on so for? Listen, if it have anything that will make somebody redirect their anger towards you, is that statement. Why you had to get on so for that? Well, now I'm no longer upset with that. Because what we don't realize when we ask somebody that question is we are challenging their sense of justice and injustice. Now I overreacting. The thing that I upset about, not worth it. What I mean, we listen. I love these kind of conversations here, and thank you for this. I just want to point out that trying to calm somebody down, try to find a way to do it that does not come across like an attack on their sense of injustice.
Right. And you know, it's a sad thing that as always see the post circulating, there's always talk about the way you react, not what caused you to act like that. Here now. And this is something we always look at the instances of, and I'm going to drive this one home with this example. We always look at some of the instances of violence in society today. And we always only see the end result of this one get lashed or that one was maliciously wounded or something like that. That's all we just see. We never see the story of, well, for 13 years he was encroaching on my land. Excuse the expression, I just looking for something that...
Hey, listen, let me acknowledge that disputes happen for that. Right? Across the world and across world history.
Right. So 13 years he encroaching foot by foot on my land. And now that I ready to build my house, is 8 feet of land that I lost.
Right.
Into my lot. And I keep telling them about it and thing. And then and then it escalates to you here. Man A maliciously wounded man B.
Right.
And then it's like, wait, how he could do that, boy? But then we in here, that is 13 years this dispute going on.
And that he tried to go by local government, he went by councillor,
he went by MP, he write letter to tongue and country,
gone by the station, right.
And then all of a sudden you just hear the end result. So guys, just as a discussion Cardo and I were having yesterday about the cricket, where Cardo juxtaposed a situation where I responded by telling him, hey, I am in the locker room, I don't know what the tactics looking like.
Yeah, it's how juxtaposer, you know.
We know that. You look like one.
Yeah, but juxtaposer finish. What's over? Anyway, this is me actively listening.
Right? Just like how that was our discussion. Most times when you read the story in the newspapers or you see it on the news, and when I say the newspapers, now we have to take social media into newspapers too.
Let's stay traditional and
social, traditional, and conventional.
Conventional is not traditional?
I would look at conventional as like the news. And the
so
radio news.
What's the difference between traditional and conventional then?
Traditional would be like the newspapers, and then the social is social media. And the journal, and the outcome journalist that is just post the picture without a proper caption or backstory. I digress.
I actually am not touching that one either. But it's not just comes does do them thing, right? We had an example of that last week. Ooh, and some of it is incompetence and some of it is
it's clickbait.
dis and misinformation. But let me not go down that road. At that time for that.
Yeah,
at that time for that.
we had December to touch on that.
I ain't touched on monkey and tree.
Right?
Yeah.
But what I'm saying, guys, is there are times when we don't get the full story, and we just paint a position based on 2 lines of information, when it's actually a whole novel that was written.
You know why that make me smile, Aaron?
Why is that?
We do that with almost every encounter we have during the day. During the average day, we do that all day, all the time. So when somebody give you a bad drive, all you have is that window with that person, that one moment. And you've given yourself an entire narrative. That person is at 36, they buy the license, them are nobody to study, right?
There's all kind of different things.
Right.
But you know where's the bad part about it? And it goes back down to something I said last week. That is why I always try to have manners in all situations. Because you never know what somebody going through. And I always have the joke that person might be a serial killer, and not saying good morning might be the thing that tripped them off. I laughing about it.
Me laughing about it. I seen it for years at Trinidad, and them fellas running around. Anyway,
but in today's world, you never know what somebody trigger is.
It's because we don't know what people are going through.
Now, I'm not saying walk around and be holier than thou. And good morning, kind sir. I hope you have a fantastic day today. I'm not saying you need to do that.
Why not? That man doing that on the TikTok videos getting millions of views. What are you talking about? This British man just walking around complimenting people.
But I see it have one that he stand up with a sign and be like, anybody going through a mental struggle, you could have a hug.
Hey, I'm challenging that statement by saying, why can't you go around holier than thou, being extra nice to people?
Well, then,
just food for thought.
Yeah, and that's my thing. Now, extra nice, again, in today's world, where
could be misconstrued.
It could be misconstrued.
Tackling.
Exactly. Or sexual harassment.
All right, well then let's
say
kind. How about kindness?
You need to be kind.
Yeah, forget a nice thing. Kindness.
And that's the thing. As is Men's Health Month, I keep saying as men we need to be kinder to each other.
And ourselves. Because the thing that you could be messing up your brethren with the nickname that you're calling him could be the thing that he's most insecure about. Right. Yeah, he really doesn't know, you know.
You really don't know. Because I'll put myself in the example here. Everybody knows I'm vertically challenged.
Hey, sir, you're not vertically challenged, right? You're gravitationally gifted.
Thank you very much. I never thought of it like that.
No, just saying, you know how much harder it is to throw you down than somebody else? But thank God for... Are you sure you have impressive balance? But hey, listen here, and don't held your gifting short now, brother. Where my bell? Sorry, actively listening. Sorry.
Right? Now, that actually for me is one of the things I'm most insecure about. And it's purely based on the fact that when I was in the dating game, the average woman was taller than me.
All right.
Or if there's even my height, the porn heels.
Right.
And it's something I was always insecure about. But I realized in our Peacock parlance, in our Twilight Republic, I couldn't get away from it.
Right.
Because the average thing, the nickname is, yeah, short man. So eventually within my social circles, I developed a rule. If you have to give me a short joke, at least make it creative. Make it funny. Make me laugh. Because if you come with the typical, yeah, short man, wait boy, you vertically challenged, you're gravitationally gifted, whatever it may be.
Hold on. Gravitationally gifted is a compliment.
Oh, my bad. But I'm just using them, right? In examples here. If you come with them things, it's like, you just trying to be generic. Be creative. Expand your vocabulary. Expand your vocabulary.
Expand your vocabulary, right?
Yeah.
I sure nobody ever called it gravitational.
No, this was actually the first time.
And I meant it as a compliment.
Right? But what I'm saying is...
Gravity is important, Aaron.
It is. Or even worse off, the brethren who little chubby.
Mm-hmm. Oh gosh,
your brethren who have a ras that he might be getting a little patch. Or your brethren that balding but don't want to give up. No, I've been serious. These are the real examples here.
I remember my last mohawk, and Rob was like, "Carter, it's time to let it go," right? Because my mohawk started to look more like a yard fowl.
A less pigeon.
A less pigeon. The mohawk started to look like the Trinity Hills, right? Because it's some spaces. It was just time. It was time.
No, but again, and that's the thing. We have to understand that sometimes we are our own friend's worst enemy when it comes to the way that we address them. We learned at the start of this month that it's what you put on your friends. When we had the episode with Soraya.
What you dress people in.
What you dress people in. So if you dress people in constant negativity, constant peacock, constant slander of character or appearance or means, is not that what they become? We need to put proper things on our friends and put proper things on ourselves.
I agree with you. And I also think that there is still space for some healthy ribbing. Because the world is not going...
It's not bells and whistles.
It is correct. Right? And there are a lot of people out here who have been so well protected that they are...
That's a whole next part of this.
That they are underprepared for realities. And then you end up outside here, a full-grown adult muck. And
what? You don't allow me hear that word, right?
Well, I'm just saying, right? And you're out here and you're muxy, you can't ask. You even know what you don't know where the taxi stand is. And you don't even have what it takes to ask. Am I where you gonna so and so car around here?
Yeah, as they used to say back then, the street sense.
Yeah, because you go to work and somebody is like, hey, what's Shabanasi doing? And you're ready to quit because nobody ever talked to you like that before. It have room. It have room.
It have room for it, but also...
Let's dress our people in balance.
But it shouldn't be that is the only way you're dressing them.
Right, fair. I'll take that.
You must be able to dress them in a polo like this. A football jersey like what Ricardo is wearing.
It's make my shoulders look real nice too.
A home jersey, if you understand what I'm saying, with home clothes. Or even a shirt and tie.
You know, apparently home clothes is that Trinidad.
That Trinity thing, yeah.
Thing. Yeah.
All right. I'll tell you, so I can't talk about this on air yet, but in December, depending on how it goes, it might have an episode where I get to show you that.
Yeah, we go. Yeah, we could do a nice little year in review. I think we had a pretty good year. Yeah, real saying, that's one of the things I'm gonna work on for next year. Next year, we're gonna see a level of professionalism coming from me. Well, ball, you know. Well, let's say, wait, no, that's the same fella who does be with Aaron. And then by the year after, they'll be like, hey, look, the fella who does be with Cardo. And he does DJ? Yeah, that's the fella from Pan and thing.
But, as I said, the thing about that too, and I think we're getting somewhere close to the end of tonight's show.
About 20 minutes again. But there's a song that I kind of want to run. So let me get that 50.
Okay, so here the thing in it, as men, we also know that our role in society or the role in the home is to provide.
One of the rules.
One of the rules is to provide, right? Mm-hmm. And that need to provide sometimes takes us away from our families a lot. Fellas, sometimes your presence is more required than the presents that you can give to your kids. Right? Now, I'm not saying give your presence so much that you will see a presence of all the utilities coming to cut you.
Right. I love my children so much. I'm gonna spend all my time with them. Forget our work thing.
Right? Just how we talk about balancing the emotions.
Mm-hmm.
We talk about balancing the way that you dress your friends and you dress yourself. You also have to have that balance between presence and presence.
Yeah, that need to provide. It is essential, yes. It is essential. It is also one of the things that leads to overloaded plates.
Derek is right.
Because I just want to point out that one of the things that happens is that we are not addressing inadequacy. We're not addressing insufficiency, we are addressing inadequacy. Right? When we are trying to pay a bill and you make up enough money to pay that bill, you now have a fear of 1, that bill returning, 2, something else popping up, 3, not being able to handle the next thing that comes.
Or even better, the age-old, my card is no one I get paid.
Right.
So die when the knocking will come.
Right. It's not even a case of being able to provide enough. It's about having the confidence to address what arises so you know that you can stop long enough to rest. It is not insufficiency that is our fear. It is inadequacy that we would not be able to handle it.
Yeah, and it's the sad thing. Sometimes you just learn the most powerful lessons from the most random or the most
things
unexpected. No, from the most unexpected sources. A few years ago, I was quote unquote tracking a young lady, right?
Listening.
Not telling the story.
I'm listening.
And it was during a Christmas season in Carnival. So everybody know as a DJ, working on work, that busy season for me.
Mm-hmm.
And she asked the question at time, why are you always working so much? I say, because I want to afford a certain lifestyle.
Right.
So I work hard to afford the things that I want to afford.
Mm-hmm.
And she was like, now you're not working for that because you could comfortably afford that now. You're working because you're avoiding something.
I like that.
And it was one of the most thought-provoking convos I had with somebody I didn't even want to have that kind of convo with.
Yeah, because you wasn't looking for all that action.
You was looking for all that action.
You wasn't looking for all that smoke. You just wanted some heat. Anyway.
All right, that's it.
This is me just actively listening.
It's before 7 p.m. Anyway, kids still listening.
And they're listening to. I'm glad if they're listening. I'm glad if all the children listening to WAC. And this is the viceiest thing that they hear for the day. Thank the Lord.
I highly doubt it because Tony Tony was by himself today. Can now gonna say Tony but this has some kind of hey, you ever
it's still better than the majority of what else going on outside there. So big up you, WAC listeners, and children and grandchildren of WAC listeners.
As you say that, if you think what we're talking here, some people might look at it as what's stupidness them young fellas talking, right? But if you really want to hear some good stupidness talk, what you need to do is come on down to Athletes by the Park on Sunday morning from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. for WAC's 20th anniversary brunch. We are going to have, that's this Sunday, we are going to have a special dotish hour featuring WAC's very own celebrities, Kenny Phillips and Mr. Desmond. They have been practicing to this dotish hour for the past 10 years. And they're going to come out with some extra dotish talk.
I'm not touching that one.
I'm trying to sell the dotish hour. I can't sell the dotish hour by saying the comment to talk sense. Then it's not a dotish hour.
I hear you, sir. I hear you. What time is this thing starting?
10 a.m. So I go in after church.
Yeah, me too. So that's why I asked what time it's starting.
Yeah, come out any neat, sir.
You serious, right?
Yeah.
So I come out ready to take picture and thing.
Of course, you're going to be meeting a lot of the WAC fans on this day. The people that religiously listen to the living room each and every Tuesday from 6 p.m. And also the people who does tune in when we have pan and tune in when we're doing these shows. There's listening on a Friday night when I on. There's listening to to Damien, who does start off with the gospel from 9 to 10. There's listening to Speak Out with David. There's listening to Foxy on a morning.
Foxy doing things, huh?
Yeah. Right. There's listening to Tony and Dezo on an evening. They listen to Richard C, Alpha B, Al Capone, Tony D, Vanessa Headley. See what I did there?
Rhyme?
No, you didn't. Oh gosh, man. You could really kill my joy, you know.
Sir, you take responsibility for your own joy, please. Take responsibility for your own
joy. With that being
joy.
said, as I say, they can't kill my joy. I must say a special good evening going out to Terry Lyons.
I want to say a special good evening going out to Sean Winchester. Right.
Who did a serious injustice to last week Friday, but anyhow.
Wait, what?
Another frequency.
We could talk it? Okay, listen.
I don't know, but another frequency attempted to do a top 100
right.
top 101 soca songs of all time, and it caused a big stir on social media.
As it was designed to, yeah.
I'm not gonna say that. And normally I don't like to listen to those things because the unofficial cultural connoisseur in me kicks in whenever I listen to people doing a countdown of the top.
Right.
Soca this or calypso that. But I'm thankful for something like that being done because one, it created conversation. But I continue to say we need to put respect on our legends who paved the way name. How a song like Dengole could be so low, right? As Cardo they say the greatest, in his iteration, the greatest love song.
One of it right up there. It definitely higher than Fast Wine in terms of love songs here.
Whoa. I've traveled through the stars and many moons to find you. Oh my. Go ahead.
I acknowledge that 1-1, it go full the bucket. So I appreciate the contribution that it made. I love this I love how it stirred. People, it was a nice. It was a nice 100 days to Carnival. There were things that it stirred. It gave people something local. Like put it this way, they were talking more about soca than they were talking about Black Friday and Thanksgiving. You dig?
Correct. Yeah.
Right. So
anyway, I'll stay away from that.
All right. So 2 thumbs up for it. But I also know a marketing gimmick when I see one. So it was like I didn't have time to sit down there to spend my whole evening coughing up myself and typing up on my keyboards about where this song and that one too low. And besides, everybody know that in terms of the top 100 soca tunes, 5 of the top 20 is Sean Winchester. Right? I just saying.
On Cardo's countdown.
The one that counts, right? Because I listened to it. I knew it was going to be intentionally contentious, which is great. Like we're still talking about it days afterwards on another frequency, so it did what it was supposed to do.
Yeah, and that's it.
So kudos, thumbs up, right? Whack need to answer back and get them
top 90 calypsos of all time.
I was gonna say 901 and count. Damn them.
You know what? That night, if we have to do top 901 calypso / soca songs of all time, that needs to start from now. And that going straight till next year, Carnival.
That going till must be all now next year, right? So what I mean is,
Fast Wine will be number 2,
and Dingoli will be
number 3.
We could, I for Kenny to decide.
Hey, whoa! If we leave Kenny to decide that,
whack them, Kenny could be
Hey. It's a good thing both of we agree at the same time.
Yeah. So you can't blame either one of us.
But no, really and truly, I do think that, and I continue to think that we need to put some respect on the culture. 2025 is the year of Calypso, and if you have never been to, I ask that you go to a Calypso tent.
I will go attend. I want to go to more than one tent this year, to be honest with you.
So you know which tent we're going? As one of the tents?
Well, just now I seen this sign in my head, you know.
If you don't know the sign, I must quote my brethren from Saparia, Ras Commander, the man with the lyric, and that I ain't no gimmick. He said he's always there to please and
and squeeze and with ease and
on WAC 90.1 FM decrease, right? We had to go Kaiso Showcase.
Yeah.
Right? We don't know. We hope that if Kenny in the tent, we making sure and go opening night, because I did one night, he did sound good.
I could have said that the one night he could sing the whole song.
Hey, Kenny just get encore and thing, eh?
He's get encore and thing?
The man get 4 encore the first time he was in the tent.
I mean, we keep in because, you know, we're so close that we can appreciate the greatness, but I honestly think the fight Kenny that year. I think the fight him.
But yeah, with what them? Yeah. He should at least make Skanapa.
Yeah, the fight him.
Well, he's always said a fight in the artist, sir.
Hey, you know, and he have a lot of things that has raised my eyebrow about, but I believe him on that one.
And he's also said that he had the 51st best calypso for the year.
He was higher than that to fight him.
Yeah, right? So we had to go a Kaiso Showcase.
Mm-hmm.
And if we could make the one that Alois does have with all the legends, Barry, I would like to go to that one.
Yeah, let me jump out a little bit now.
Yeah, and you know what we should also try and organize? A Panyard crawl.
Cool.
No, when I say a Panyard crawl, it could be me and you, the night for prelims, going and listen to Pan.
Yeah, we've done it before. I think the only reason we stopped really was because of yeah. I think light up, they look like the beacon of light and purity,
wow.
Justice and truth. Yeah, I think the only reason we stopped was because of the Panini. Yeah, but prior to that, if it was one self, we would have jumped out and check out.
Yeah, because we used to be, for some reason, most times it would have fallen on a Tuesday, and we would have leave the station and just walk down by Skiffle, and then walk back down by Fonclair.
And it had Friday nights where I would have just jump in a set with you, and then we take a spin. It's not like we didn't do it. Right, so I just say that let's show face a little bit this year, man. You know, right, and that way if you post pictures and thing of you in various panyards, nobody could jump out to the fast and out of place self to ask what you know about that. Remember, I saying it in big, you know. Remember that people who find that you were too young to be commenting in some of these spaces commenting. So, show them now.
All I will continue to say is my grandfather would have been one of the designers for Wassa Silvertone's float back in the 1960s. So culture is something that has always been in my family.
Yeah,
and it is a baton that I have picked up now, and I'm running my leg of the race. And I hope that if I am blessed with children, that I could hand the baton over to them. If not, I could find somebody else who is as avidly invested in our culture as I am to hand that baton over to them. And I think that's the last thing I could say in terms of when you played full. You had to know when to pass on responsibility to somebody else. We did a whole episode, how much ever weeks or months ago, about RIP, which says retire in peace.
Yeah.
You could go back and look for it on DJ Aaron868 playlist on YouTube.
Yeah, we could also recommend that as the episode. Right. It could be up in the corner. So, yeah. You got a little thing go pop down and you go click on it and But that's the thing. That's the last thing you know when you have too much on your plate. You had to know when to hand it over. And the analogy I'm going to use for this one, not because you're 60-something and you build a system, right? Mean that when somebody come to rent it from you, you had to go with it too. Okay. I get you. If you think
Sometimes.
if you think that your bill good enough, it could work without you.
Exactly.
Right. I do. It's not I jump in this because it's better I say than you say.
But
I see through that veiled.
Yeah.
Yeah.
with that being said, guys, I must say,
Good night.
no, I was gonna say good night, but I must say, if you get a chance, go a bingo with your family now. It has be fun.
Man, in this bingo, you know.
You mightn't be on a winning streak like me. What?
Man,
I
in
win
this
a
bingo, you know.
I win a Chinese. I win one of them food processors. Exactly. There's some veggies cut up. Or?
No, I'm alright. I'm alright. I'm alright.
Watch me. I cut it
Appreciate.
up everything in that food processor.
I appreciate the rice and everything. You just everything.
Hey, I feel I'm gonna make some tuna when this episode finish. I'm gonna throw the pimento and the onion and that.
You just slice and dice, no man.
Hey, with that being said, I must remind you that my name is DJ Aaron868 and culture is my code. And I tell you that love is the currency. So spend some today. Let somebody know you love them, guys.
I'm Ricardo Mitchell, the social sage on the global stage. Thank you for joining us in the living room tonight. Remember, guys, the hourglass is opaque. We don't know how much time remains. So whatever you're doing, be good, stay safe, and take some things off the plate now.
Mr. Desmond is up next with the big band. Keep it locked.